President Bola Tinubu has urged African countries to improve the quality of life for people across the continent. Tinubu, who was represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, made the call while declaring open the 2024 African Caucus meeting held at the Transcorp Hotel, Abuja. The president also emphasized the need for African leaders to ensure that democracy, good governance, and economic institutions work together. Tinubu said his administration took bold economic policies to propel Nigeria's economy out of the downturn occasioned by multiple shocks in the global economy. He said that his administration remained committed to optimizing the nation's economic potential and delivering favorable outcomes for citizens. Tinubu also said that his government would ensure the overall sustainable development of the regional economy. He drew attention to the need to enhance the international tax cooperation to combat illicit financial flows and ensure multinationals contribute fairly. He drew attention to the need to enhance international tax cooperation to combat illicit financial flows and ensure multinationals contribute fairly to economies on the continent. Tinubu described the caucus meeting as a vital platform to share experiences, forge partnerships, and chart a collective path forward. Earlier, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, said available data revealed that 41 African countries are set for stronger growth of up to 3.8% from about 3.4% in 2022 and rising to 4.3% in 2025. Edu, who is also the chairperson of the African Caucus, said these exceed the global average of about 3.2%. Citizenship and Leadership Training Center, as agency of the Ministry of Youth Development, has sought an enhanced partnership and collaboration with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in the pursuit of its leadership and citizens' value orientation. The request was made in Abuja when the management team of the center, led by its Director General Adesoji Aniade, paid a courtesy visit to the EFCC's Executive Chairman, Ola Olukoyede, at the Commission's corporate headquarters. Aniade, who noted that the center and the EFCC had an organizational collaboration which has seen to the training of the Commission's cadets in its Fair Hills Institute in Jos, Plateau State, appealed for the enhancement and sustenance of the collaboration towards equipping the Commission's young officers with requisite leadership values and orientation. Eniade further sought for a value reorientation training for cybercrime convicts in order to make them better and more productive citizens after their jail time. Olukayode, in his response, thanked the delegation for the visit. He appreciated the center for its roles in value reorientation for the society and promised enhanced collaboration between the two agencies of government. While the chairman noted that the value orientation was important to the commission, for which reason he said the EFCC under his leadership has embarked on setting up a cybercrime research center in its academy that will take in a good number of cybercrime ex-convicts for the purpose of reorienting them and adding value to their lives. He stated that approval for the center's request for reorientation training of ex-convicts was outside the remit of the commission. The newly appointed Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research, Professor John Obafunwa, on Friday assured Nigerians of his readiness to work for the progress of the institute. Obafunwa, who gave the assurance at the official handing over ceremony organized by his predecessor, Professor Babatunde Salako, whose tenure ended on July 23rd. The new Director General pledged his commitment to further enhance the Institute's capacity and his willingness to work with all staff of the Institute with the aim to increase the health indices of the country. Obafunwa, a former Vice-Chancellor of the Lagos State University, Ojo, was appointed by President Bola Tinubu as the new Director General of NIMR on July 22, 2024. Speaking earlier, the former Director General of NIMR, Professor Salako, appealed to the members of staff to give their holistic support to Obafunwa. Salako said that Obasanjo already had the mandate of the nation to make the institute productive in enhancing the health of the nation through innovative research and discoveries. Some members of the House of Representatives have rallied support for the Group Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mele Kyari, over the committee's ongoing probe of the firm. The group advised the investigative panel to remain neutral in the probe of Kyari and the Chief Executive Officer. Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed. The lawmakers, led by Representative Billy Osanwaru, said this at a news conference in Abuja on Friday. Osanwaru faulted the call for the removal of Kyari and Ahmed, describing the move as premature. Osanwaru said the call for the sack of Kyari when an investigation is ongoing was an action against parliamentary culture. Deputy spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Rep. Philip Abese, had asked President Bola Tinubu to immediately dismiss Kyari for allegedly stifling the economy's growth due to the oil sector crisis. Abese also called on the president to sack Ahmed and other inherited appointees. Osanwaru said it was against parliamentary culture to call for the sack of an official of government when an investigation involving such person had not been concluded. The Managing Director and Chief Executive, Nigerian Film Corporation NFC, Dr. Ali Nuhu, says the late music icon Onyeka Onwenu's impact within Nollywood shall continue to be referenced. Nuhu, in a statement in Abuja, described Onyeka's passing as a robbery, saying her death has left the Nigerian movie industry in a state of mourning. The legend passed on Tuesday after performing at the 80th birthday party of Stella Okolie, Chief Executive Officer of Emzo Pharmaceuticals. Nuhu said that the late singer had contributed much to the growth of Nigeria's creative economy throughout her lifetime to the very day she passed. According to him, Onwenu's role in contributing to the growth of Nigeria's vibrant entertainment sector known no bounds. He added that the music icon in the later days of her life stuck to being the consummate and highly respected Nigerian music and film star, which the present generation and those yet to be born would reference. NFC boss further said that late Onwenu remained a refined, patriotic Nigeria who shall be greatly missed. The European Union, EU, and Expertise France have announced the launch of the EU's 4 Skills project, a $7.5 million initiative designed to enhance employability and foster economic growth in Libya. The collaborative effort will address critical issues such as aligning education and training with job market needs and boosting digital technology use in economic activities. It further focuses on developing applications related to green and blue economies and improving the performance of banking and financial institutions to facilitate access to financing for SMEs. Tackling critical areas hindering youth employment in Libya. The EU 4 Skills project, funded by European Union, co-funded by the French government and implemented by Expertise France, will focus on equipping young Libyans with an in-demand technical skills and on strengthening the capacities of key public institutions to adopt effective employability measures and strategies to address the skills mismatch. Working hand in hand with key Libyan employability stakeholders like the Ministry of Economy and Trade, the Ministry of Higher Education, the Ministry of Vocational Training, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Planning, and private sector employers. EU 4 Skills will leverage its strategic partnership with the prominent regional educational network, the Mediterranean Universities Union, to conduct sector-related skill assessment, development, job-ready curriculums, connecting job seekers and employers across Libya. The EU 4 Skills project signifies the continuation of EU support for a thriving Libyan economy. Mexican President Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador said on Friday that the U.S. State Department recognition of Venezuela's opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez as the country's election winner was an excess. Lopez Obrador's statement comes at the time Argentina and Uruguay recognized Gonzalez as Venezuela's president-elect. The United States rejected Nicolas Maduro's presidential proclamation, and European and U.S. lawmakers condemned the Venezuelan government's handling of the election. The Venezuelan opposition has released detailed tallies on a public website, but the government had not yet shared any information beyond the national total of votes for each candidate. Venezuela's National Electoral Council, CNE, ratified on Friday afternoon the victory of President Nicolas Maduro in last Sunday's election. Maduro obtained 6.4 million votes on 51.95%, while the opposition Edmundo Gonzalez obtained 5.3 million votes or 4.18%. The presidents of Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia called for Venezuela to release detailed voting tallies on Thursday, amid a dispute over presidential election results that has sparked protests. Venezuela's Electoral Council proclaimed Maduro, who has been in power since 2013, the winner of the July 28 election with 51% of the vote. But the country's opposition says its tally of about 90% of the votes shows its candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, received more than double the support of the incumbent president, in line with independent polling conducted before the contest. The opposition has released detailed tallies on a public website, but the government has so far not shared any information beyond the national total of votes for each candidate. The current presidents of Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico have traditionally been friendlier with Maduro and have adopted a more neutral stance on the election, as countries around the world call for release of full tallies, and the U.S. said Maduro should acknowledge a Gonzalez win. Venezuelans living in Buenos Aires and Brasilia gathered on Thursday to ask for peace in Venezuela and to demonstrate against the presidential election result given by the Venezuelan Electoral Council, which proclaimed President Nicolas Maduro as a winner. In Buenos Aires, people lit candles and sang songs during a video spelling out the word peace on the ground. Event organizer and president at Alliance for Venezuela Group, Alexandra Galvez, said the video was a place where they could report human rights violations but also come together as a diaspora. Meanwhile, in Brasilia, attendees prayed and said they were defending their votes as they showed papers with tallies from voting centers gathered by the opposition. Prayers and protests were held across Pakistan on Friday for the recently assassinated Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Haniyeh was assassinated earlier on Wednesday on Tehran, Iran, prompting threats of revenge against Israel amid ongoing regional tensions due to the Gaza conflict and escalating violence in Lebanon. Hundreds attended funerals praying absentia for Haniyeh in Lahore and Karachi. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, along with lawmakers, attended prayers at the mosque in the Parliament building in Islamabad. The strike was one of several recent hits that have killed senior figures in Hamas or the Lebanese movement Hezbollah in a conflict that is now stretching from Gaza to the Red Sea and the Lebanon-Israel border and beyond. Up ahead, recent to flee. China donates $3 million to UNRWA to provide humanitarian assistance to Gaza. These and more after the short break. Supporters of Hamas and Hezbollah took part in a protest condemning the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh and Hezbollah top commander Fuad Shuk in Sidon, Lebanon on Friday. Protesters were waving Hamas, Hezbollah and Palestinian flags. Haniyeh was killed by a missile that hit him directly in a state guest house in Tehran, where he was staying, senior Hamas official Kailia Alayahal said in Tehran. The strike was one of several recent hits that have killed senior figures on Hamas or the Lebanese movement Hezbollah in a conflict that is now stretching from Gaza to the Red Sea and the Lebanon-Israel border and beyond. Ukraine said on Friday that heavy Russian assaults were mounting pressure towards the strategic eastern logistic hub of Provokes as evacuating civilians continue to pass through the city on their way from devastated areas. Moscow forces have been steadily inching forward on several fronts in the eastern Donetsk region, staging particularly fierce attacks near Pokrovsk, with Kyiv's troops stretched thin 29 months since Russia's full-scale invasion. Roman Buyahov, an evacuation driver from humanitarian organization East SOS, said that the amount of requests for evacuation in the area had increased about tenfold over the past 2 weeks. Rescuers in India's Himalayan state of Himachal Pradesh were conducting search operations on Friday as dozens were missing after a deadly spout of torrential rainfall struck the region. Rescuers were seen searching through the rocky terrain as strong torrents of muddy water were gushing through the hilly area of Himachal Pradesh, where the cloudburst, a massive amount of rain in a brief period, had caused flood that killed at least 2 people, according to authorities. Emergency workers had rescued nearly 1,000 people who were stranded in different parts of the Himalayas following torrential rainfall in northern India, which caused widespread damage and left at least 12 people dead, officials said on Thursday. Survivors of the devastating landslide in Kerala, a southern coastal state of India, found themselves facing an uncertain future while sheltering at a relief camp on Friday, after the tragedy wiped out everything they had. The landslide, which occurred unexpectedly in the middle of the night on Tuesday, left many residents bewildered and mourning their deceased relatives. Geeta, 46-year-old mother of 2, said the disaster had destroyed her home as she lost her house, which she described as a heavenly abode. In Mepadi, Kerala, mourners gathered at a burial site next to a local mosque, offering prayers for the victims. Family members, visibly distraught, sobbed as they mourned their lost loved ones. Severe floods caused by heavy rainfall following Typhoon Gayami swamped China's southern Hunan province, resulting in 30 deaths and 35 people missing on Friday. Firefighters and soldiers were seen navigating muddy mountain roads and landslide areas to evacuate trapped residents from villages surrounded by rushing floodwaters. A local official told a press conference on Friday that the city of Zixin took the brunt of the typhoon in Hunan, lashed by 673.9 mm, 26.5 inches of rain over 24 hours. In nearby mountainous villages, roads were damaged and bridges were washed away. Drone footage aired on CCTV showed hundreds landslides covering the vast hilly areas. The mountainous terrain and dense forests presents challenges for the rescuers, officials said, as they have been forced to walk to hardest hit areas cut off by road collapses. Even before Typhoon Gayami hit on July 25th, China was roiled by months of extreme weather that pummeled southern provinces with record rain and parched northern regions with heat waves. Weather officials are warning of more harsh weather in August. China on Thursday donated $3 million to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees in the Near East to provide humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. On behalf of the Chinese government, Zheng Jinping, head of the Office of the People's Republic of China to the State of Palestine, signed the donation agreement with Antonio Marie Demio, Deputy Commissioner General for Operational Support of UNRWA. Zhang said that China has consistently supported UNRWA in fulfilling its mandate and called on the international community to support the work of UNRWA. This donation is aimed at supporting the UNRWA in providing emergency humanitarian assistance to the Gaza Strip. Zhang said China will continue to work with the international community to make unremitting efforts to end the war in Gaza at an early date, alleviate the humanitarian disaster, and implement the two-state solution. China is willing to work with Indonesia to ensure high-quality operation of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway and continue carrying out cooperation in talent and training, technology transfer, and other aspects. Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Yang said at a press briefing in Beijing on Friday. Lin made the remarks in response to a report that Indonesia's drivers are now capable of driving high-speed trains at a speed of 350 kilometers per hour. The Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Railway HSR is a flagship project under the China Proposed Belt and Road Initiative, which officially started operation on October 17, 2023. Thousands of people, from students to rickshaw drivers, protested in the Bangladesh capital of Dhaka on Friday, vandalizing armored police vehicles and chanting anti-government slogans as they marched on the streets. Bangladesh has been going through turmoil in recent weeks as a government job quota reform movement turned fatal, claiming over Bangladesh has been going through turmoil in recent weeks as a government job quota reform movement turned fatal, claiming over 150 lives. The unrest is the biggest test facing Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, 76, since she won a fourth term in January election boycotted by the main opposition Bangladesh National Party, which were also marred by deadly protests. The pre-season match of the Coast City International Cup has started in Enugu, with the current MPFL champion Rangers International FC of Enugu beating their old rivals, Eyimba Football Club of Aba, by a lone goal. The first half ended goalless, with the only goal of the match coming in the 52nd minute through Ago Kelechukwu. All efforts by Eyimba FC to level up scores were fruitless as the team missed several scoring chances. The match had in attendance the chairman of the local organizing committee and Enugu State Director of Sports, Boniface Onovo, an ex-Super Eagles player and general